Okay. We're back in the seat. After a whirlwind 4-part series traveling in Uganda, we are happy to be back here in Madeira, Portugal. In this video, we want to share what we learned traveling in our 50s and what returning home to Madeira reminded us of.
And how that trip to Uganda, traveling through Africa, changed us in our second half of life. So stay tuned.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to Track Us Down. If you're just finding us, I'm Monique.
And I'm Doug. Our channel is all about retiring early, moving abroad, but mostly living what we call a better second half of life. We just wrapped up our 4-part series in Uganda, and we had so much fun traveling there and so much fun filming it. If you haven't seen that series, we highly recommend you give it a watch. It was just so much fun, and we think it's super motivational for you as well, no matter where you decide to go. It was an incredible once-in-a-lifetime experience that changed us and surprised us.
Today, let's talk about the 3 big lessons, the big takeaways from our trip to Uganda, what it taught us, what we learned, and how it reaffirmed some things we already knew about the second half of life.
One of the first things that we learned and reaffirmed in our travel to Africa is exactly that. Why do we travel in our 50s? Why do we travel in early retirement in our better second half of life? And what it gives back to us. This is why we travel.
The first thing that pops to mind for sure is perspective. Sometimes you need to leave your little safety bubble and go and explore the world. It gives you fresh eyes on the world, fresh eyes on things that you don't have control over. And it's just that idea of perspective that it's hard to find sometimes when you're living your daily life. So this trip to Africa definitely put things in perspective.
A different perspective, just for comparison. It reminds us of coming from North America and living here for the first year. We're into year 5 now. What a different perspective, stepping outside that North American bubble and living here in Portugal. Very much the same.
Absolutely.
That kind of travel down to Africa gave us a huge amount of gratitude. Gratitude for what we have here in Portugal. And again, by extension, comparing to what we had in North America to what we have here in Portugal, here in Madeira. We have a huge amount of gratitude for our new life.
Another thing we learned is just that idea of urgency. Life is short. You've got to do what you want to do. This was something that was on our bucket list. And if that for you is moving abroad or trying a new lifestyle, life is short. It's time to do what you want to do. And this trip to Africa really put that in perspective for us, as we thought a lot about that this is the time we have and we need to do the things that we want to do.
We all hear that so much. Life advice in general. Once you're in your 60s, 70s, you'll never regret doing what you did in your 50s. Another huge lesson that we learned is just the contrast between shaking up our daily routine. Whether we're living here or back in North America or wherever you live, you get into a daily routine. Now, daily routines are really good for you. They build continuity, they build exercise, and just a comfortable way of life. But sometimes it's really important to shake that up. And there's no better time to do that in your 50s and beyond when you're retired or just living your better second half of life. And Africa, going to Uganda, definitely shook that up.
Always shook it up. Check out the videos and you'll see. The last thing that really stood out for us in terms of what we learned going to Africa and spending time in Uganda was to be courageous, to have courage, to try new things. And we like to talk about that a lot. And we've done a lot of new things in our second half of life. But that's what the second half of life is all about, is about finding the courage to do things that maybe are a little bit out of your comfort zone. It's always so rewarding.
And certainly moving away, moving to Europe, moving here to Portugal was definitely shaking it up and being courageous. Going to Africa and traveling from here is just one next elevated step of being courageous. So rewarding.
And those are all the things that we got back that we had as a huge takeaway, a huge lesson from traveling to Africa.
And of course, it's always good for this kind of travel to stay curious. Curious as to how the rest of the world is living, who has what, who doesn't have what, seeing the poverty there, the different ways that people are living and just trying to have a lifestyle. It's really important to learn that, to step outside your bubble and just remain curious in the world. Keeps life interesting.
And not only does it keep life interesting, but it keeps you young, because curiosity is the one thing going into your second half of life that you need to maintain. You need to maintain interest and curiosity in the world. The second major lesson we learned from this trip was returning home to Madeira and what it reminded us.
Madeira has such a welcoming atmosphere, such a welcoming vibe. It truly feels like home. We felt like we were welcome home. Into our 5th year of living here, nothing feels more comforting than coming home here to Madeira. The welcome sign is at the airport when you come back. Madeira welcomes you home, and we truly feel that, especially after being somewhere like Africa. But even if we have to travel to other countries or go back to North America, there's nothing that is more comforting than coming back to Madeira, Portugal.
Coming back to Madeira gave us a massive appreciation for what we have here, the life that we've built, and just the perfect base that Madeira is for all sorts of travel. Now, this was very far travel, but we have so much access to travel here in Madeira, and it gave us so much appreciation for that. As well, coming back to a beautiful island where we have less stress, it's such a minimal stress lifestyle that we have here. It was so nice to return home here to Madeira.
And we've talked about that before. Being somewhat of a minimalist is so important in your second half of life. It opens up the world for travel, but also to do the things that you've always wanted to do, whether that's fitness related or hobby related or anywhere in between.
The biggest takeaway from lesson number 2 is
Travel tests you, and Madeira restores you. Travel tests you in so many ways that we've talked about. Being outside your comfort zone, seeing different cultures, trying different food. You get away from your comfort zone. You learn different perspectives, which is more than important in today's split society. But coming back to Madeira,
when you come home.
it is so restorative. We couldn't have picked a better home base to live our second half of life. So whether it's travel, minimalism, living a better second half of life, this is what our channel is all about. And going forward, we're going to have even more conversations on living a better second half of life or even early retirement insights.
Also, more Madeira lifestyle content, a cost of living, real estate, and we are more committed than ever to showing you how you also can have the kind of lifestyle that we do, living here on a beautiful island, have access to travel, and always coming back somewhere safe and secure.
And that simple place to call home could be here on our beautiful island of Madeira, or it could be on the mainland. Portugal is wonderful in so many places. And finally, coming up, we are going to have some more intentional travel vlogs in the future as we travel more from our base here of Madeira. There's so many more places to go. We really enjoy making those travel vlogs. Again, if you haven't seen our Uganda series, you should really check it out. It is worth watching.
And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss an upcoming video.
And the third lesson, coming back to Madeira here as our base and reflecting back on our travels to Africa, how did that trip change us? Because every time you travel, it changes you.
I think this trip more than ever made both of us so grateful for everything that we have, the opportunities we've had, our family and our health, our safety, all the things that sometimes you just sort of go about life living and not thinking about. Being in Africa, spending time around people who have so little really puts things in perspective. And I think we both came back very grateful for this beautiful second half of life that we have.
Gratitude for Portugal and for Madeira. The way of life here, the way the people are relaxed, the welcoming nature, just their way of life, different from Africa, different from North America, different from the UK and the rest of Europe. It is just a great way, and we're so grateful for it. Part of that great lesson, this third lesson that we learned, is simplicity, keeping things simple. One backpack, one daily focus, focusing on what's in front of you and what you're seeing and what you're learning. We were reminded that true wealth in our second half of life is about simplicity. It's not about accumulation of things. It's about simplicity. It's about experiences. It's about health. And it's about just living exactly that, a better second half of life together.
And part of that second half of life for sure is the stress-freeness of minimizing stress to keeping life simple. And we know so much more about how stress impacts health, and a stress-free life here in Madeira is the answer for sure. Another thing that really changed us is a deeper understanding and appreciation for the safety and security that we have here in Portugal. We've talked about it so much, and it was definitely on our list when we looked for retirement destinations. And over the years, we have definitely felt it. But then you kind of get a little used to it. But going away and coming back, we definitely have a deeper appreciation for the security we have here, the safety and the comforts.
Especially being somewhere like Africa where you see it all the time, and maybe it's at the back of your mind, but also for the rest of the world, North America, Europe, again, where you're reading in the news and you're seeing what's going on all the time, and it's just not happening here in Portugal. You can take a big breath, you can relax, you can walk down the street with your headphones on and not worry about anything. The safety and comfort here is paramount.
And in a world where you can't control a lot of things that are happening, there's something so stress-free, minimalist, simple about living an easy lifestyle like we do here in Madeira.
And lastly, and maybe most importantly, it was a huge reminder that the world is bigger than our daily comforts. What trip recently changed you the most, and why? Leave us a comment in the comment section down below and let us know. We'd love to hear about your life-changing trip. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate the support.
Next week on the channel, we're going to dive right back into the Portugal content. Lots of things have been going on while we've been away. There's been a lot of talk about citizenship and changes that are happening for expats. So we are going to have a conversation about that.
We don't know. Does it affect us? We'll have to see. It's worth a discussion, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you so much for spending some of your time with us today. And as always, check back in and
track us down.